Well, joining us now, we're turning our attention to another topic, which is restructuring. In recent times, we've been seeing the governors of the Southeast and the South-South only coming up with a new partnership of some sort, and we also still see the executive legislature face-off and how that would affect governance. Well, to discuss that with us is Osita Okechukwu, who is the Director General of the Voice of Nigeria. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much.
Well, you have also added your voice. I mean, I think I interviewed you very recently on our on the other program, Hard Copy, where you shared your thoughts on the call for restructuring. But just for the purpose of our viewers who missed that interview, what again are your thoughts on the conversation that has been going on around restructuring in the country?
Okay, let me start by trying to lay down some commonalities and the indices that are common between those for and those you might call against. That actually, restructuring can be defined into two subheads: the substructure restructuring and the superstructure restructuring. If you talk of the superstructure restructuring, I remember telling you that it means you're either talking of the regions, you're talking of the states, talking of devolution of powers. And I said, if you want me to start, I will start by saying that the Southeast region should have an additional state. But coming back to the most elementary restructuring, which is going on, there is either those, they say that success gathers along the line enemies. President Muhammadu Buhari, acting President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN, the manifesto of the APC, of which I was privileged to be a member of the subcommittee on manifesto, explicitly agrees that there should be devolution of powers to return to true federalism. But Mr. President, if you listen to him or discuss with him on his own inner thoughts, he said basically, because one of the shocks Mr. President had in coming to power on May 29, 2015, was when he found piles of unpaid salaries and arrears at the state and federal levels. So he understood, like every other Nigerian, that there is hunger in the land, there's sadness, there's disillusion, there's discontent. And he said, in order to bring to bear prosperity, happiness to the Nigerian people that voted for him overwhelmingly, not South, is it better to start on the superstructure of the regions, whether we want the regions, whether we want this? Or do we start the national cohesion by social inclusion for those millions of Nigerians that have been left behind? Do we bring them back to prosperity? And he said, let me start from there. He looked around. There's not much money in place. He started going around the country. And there were a lot of criticisms then. What is the man going up and down? He can't sit down here and address the issue. What has he achieved?
Mr. Okechukwu, I hate to interrupt you, but a number of people will say that. Are you implying that for your party, devolution of powers, as promised in your manifesto, has taken the back seat?
No. If you had allowed me to flow, for the interest of your audience, I want to lay a background to our discussion that the APC, President Muhammadu Buhari, acting President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and all the members of the APC are not opposed to superstructure restructuring But we said that the happiness of the country is based on critical infrastructure deficit. I don't know whether you have an idea, even this channel's office, the cost of electricity. If you have an idea,
yes,
you ask yourself, I brought a pamphlet in that interview, if you remember. I don't know whether you were able to go through, where I showed a town of less than 200,000 people home and abroad that had the oral history of the same mother, the same father, of 5 men that turned out to be villages. That's my town, Eke. That today is more divided than the country. But it's very easy to hype the Southeast, the Met. They talked of restructuring. Nobody's against that. But if you voted a party for 4 good years, and you have the opportunity as well to vote them in or vote them out, please don't reverse the gear of the party. The party said, this is what happened all over the world. It happened in the United Kingdom. When you hear that there was a referendum in Scotland, the UK did not start today.
The question
but there came a time now when it became germane to go that way.
The question is, are these things mutually exclusive? Are you saying that while we're taking care of development, we cannot be talking about restructuring or devolution of powers at the same time?
It seems to be so in a way, because Mr. President, as far back as last year, 2016, brought a basket of loan that, because of integrity quotient, was granted by Exim Bank, Eurobond, Chinese Exim,